big part in your book is just the kind of shedding stuff that you don't need.
They think that they need to focus on the editing and the purging, and that, are you going to make me get rid of everything? It's no, let's flip the script. Let's come in from a positive mindset of, what do you want to keep? Let's focus on the keep, and like that adds value and joy in your life. And by nature, those other items will be discarded.
Hey friends, welcome to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm Christine Bullock, founder of KO Body Care, certified fitness trainer and mom of 2 little girls who's just trying to juggle it all and feel as good as possible. I'm so grateful that you're here. Now let's get started, sexy. Hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Welcome back to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm your host, Christine Bullock. Well, there's a recent trend sweeping, pun intended, the internet, called organizational porn. What is it about a well-organized closet or tri-folded thongs that is so satisfying that people spend hours scrolling through social media and blogs? Plain and simple, keeping things clean and organized is good for your mental health. Yes, when some people feel overwhelmed or stressed out, they try yoga, meditation, or even get a massage. But have you ever thought how much impact clean, labeled shelves, organized drawers, and the ease of finding necessities in a jiffy can be to your mental health? In fact, a study published in Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that women who described their living spaces as cluttered were more likely to be fatigued and depressed than women who described their homes as restful and restorative. I had to ponder on that, how I would describe my house. Research has also found that women with messy or cluttered homes had higher levels of cortisol, that stress hormone we don't like too much of. In addition, with my personal ADD, I found I'm less productive in a cluttered atmosphere. Science backs this by saying a person's visual cortex can be overwhelmed by objects not related to a particular task, making it harder to focus and complete projects efficiently. I truly can't finish anything if there is stuff going on around me. I need it clean as a whistle. So as much as you may hate the process of cleaning, and that is me too, a clean surrounding provides people who are struggling with some uncertainties a way to assert control over their life and focus on their goals. But where in the world to begin? Well, today I have organizational queen, Jeneral of Life in Jeneral, who's going to teach us all how to organize our home like a pro and enjoy a little more home harmony. Jeneral's organizational company, Life in Jeneral, focuses on the soul work of home organization, the psychological and emotional foundation necessary for creating a streamlined and sustainable lifestyle. For Jen, change comes from within, a process that, to succeed, must begin in the heart. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
And I have to intro this by saying, Jen organized my entire home in a brand new home. And this was my push present for Penelope. And it was the best push present ever, because it literally is better than gold or anything else. Like it is your sanity, especially with children running around and just a new home. So I have personally worked with Jen, and not only her, but her entire team were so efficient. They did it so fast. They were so pleasant and fun. They were like best friends running around your home. So I highly recommend.
Yes. What a great gift, by the way. I'm like, that is, your house was so fun. And there's nothing better for us than obviously what we do. But then when it comes to bringing home a baby and starting that whole adventure and being a part of that journey, I mean, first it's like being led into someone's home. It's a very vulnerable space, but also it's really important to us to, really create the systems that's every day make your life easier. So it's always such an honor to organize for anyone. But when it comes, especially around bringing home babies and change, and that it fills us up with so much joy. So thank you for having us.
No, I couldn't be more thankful. I mean, it was like 8 months pregnant, brand new house. And honestly, I just was like, you guys do whatever you want to do. And we still to this day organize exactly like what you had. We'll go through the processes that you do as well, so everybody can do this at home. But why is home organization? I went into the wellness side of it, but from your experience and your book, how you speak to it,
Yeah.
you really get into the heart of it for the
Yeah.
transformations. What kind of transformations have you seen through this home organization?
Oh my gosh. It like what we get to do obviously is change a space, but for me, that's a beauty, right, in itself. But when you physically watch someone's life transform in front of you, whether it's their relationships change, their confidence changes, we've worked with people who have been wanting to lose weight forever and they've done all the things. And then we've helped them organize and create structure in their home. And then all of a sudden they get to have those goals that they've been trying to achieve. But for us, it's kind of exactly what you said, that within, it's really getting deep to the core of like, what do you really want in your life? And for us, like, your home is such a big part of that. The relationships. I mean, I really kind of attest to my dad before he passed away. Years ago, it was this conversation of connection over collection and really speaking truth to that. And what does that look like? And it looks different for every single person. And I created Life in General around this idea of what really matters most to you. And every single person's going to be different. I always say it, no two people are the same, no two houses are the same. But creating that space for someone to make that room and to know that every day they get to live that. And for us, it's a huge blessing, but understanding the mental side of it and all of it encompasses it all. So.
Yeah, you really have to get to know the psychology of human condition, number one, and in order to customize that to each of your clients and learn theirs as well and create that space. It's creating space in your life for those things that you want and like a pathway.
For sure,
You
for
know,
sure.
I love that in the sense of the weight loss too, because I mean, it can be applied to anything. It could be, you want to start a business, you want to do this, but when you're living in chaos, you are literally cluttered, right? Something's always going to get in your way. And
Mhm.
so that's why I'm the most disorganized, organized person you'll ever meet. I always say this. Um, if I have the space for it, if you tell me where to put things, I will put them there, right? And I love it. And I can't work unless it is truly organized. But if you actually just looked at the top of my desk, I need you to come over and look around it and help me where to put papers. It's the only thing I don't know where to put, and I'm surrounded by chaos.
Yeah.
Just right here, not in my drawers because you organize my drawers. My pens are still color coded.
It's that oh gosh, I mean, I could talk about this all day because it's the feeling, and
Yeah,
I know when something's out of order for myself or my car, or I didn't take, and again, not every day is gonna be perfect and organized. Like,
yeah.
people have to live their lives, and different seasons come with different paths, and for me right now especially is I can feel the difference when I'm disorganized. I can feel how it affects every other part of my life, and obviously, like, I do this for a living, so it's amplified, but it really does matter, and why I've kind of changed my whole life around it to know, like, on Sundays, I need the Sunday reset, and if I don't
Mhm.
have it or if I'm out of town, I need to schedule it in on Mondays because I know what it looks like when I don't do that, and Tuesday, Wednesday, for the rest of the week, I feel a little bit off. And it's getting progressively more and more to where I'm like, okay, this is great that I know this. So how can I build a life around this foundation, and continue with that season of life and what happens in every single day, or if I'm traveling or not. But I always go back to the root of I need to schedule it and I need to make it a priority. It's self-care. People do like the spa, the manis and pet. I love it all. I'm all for it. And knowing that for me, my version of self-care is deep cleaning the house and resetting the house. And it is just what I've come to love and know. And my family, we've had values around it where I'm like, I got to do my self-care and I just need an hour, 2 hours, depending on the week. But I've made it a priority, just like anything else.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you're even organizing your schedule, but it is true. I mean, if you've ever been truly organized, you understand. If you haven't been, you may not quite get it, but keep
Mhm.
tuning in because you have to feel that exhilaration of, or just that focus when everything is in its spot and you can not worry about anything else. There's a clarity to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, for those of us who are maybe not so organized as a human being, in your book, Life in General, I read a story that you asked to stay back from recess to reorganize the classroom flow and told the teacher you wanted to, quote, maximize the space to its fullest potential. And you was what, like third grade, or was like
Yeah, I
very
was
young?
very
I forget,
young.
9, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Seems like you've always been into organization, but how or when did you decide to turn it into a booming career?
Yeah. I definitely think when you live your life and then you look back at moments, it kind of all connects the dots. But when you're
Mhm.
in it, you don't necessarily see the big picture. But I was a personal assistant before Life in General, and I saw every day how the structure and order in someone's home life that I was doing, like obviously organizing the schedule and the routine and all that, but I was organizing closets and the garage and getting the house set up. And then I was doing it for friends and families on the weekend, which I just had this moment that I was so booked and I wasn't charging and I was doing it for fun on top of my full-time job as a personal assistant, which did have, a lot of organization to it. But I just knew that I had found what I was meant to be doing. And I know that not everyone is fortunate enough to like feel that calling. And I always say, you just feel differently. And so for me, when I knew it was time to take a leap of faith, like I don't believe in failure, I believe in all his lessons. It was just time. I was like, I'm ready to do this. I really wanted to help as many people as possible and as many different homes as possible. And so I was booked every weekend. I think I was booked for like 6 months out. And then I realized like I should probably start charging, you
Oh
know,
my gosh, yeah.
I would have loved to do it for free forever, but I obviously have to
Yeah.
in my life. But yeah, it was this moment of I got to at least try. And I have to, I knew nothing about running a business. I didn't go to business school. It was just one foot in front of the other. And every day I felt just so excited about the next day and excited to go into someone's home and space and create order and structure that I knew was going to change their life. And, not every day is rainbows and butterflies, as I say, but it is something really special when you can see a transformation in the home, but more importantly for me, in someone's life.
And you have to be so passionate about, like you said, you don't need to know every step, when you jump into something, as long as you really have a passion for it, because it's not all rainbows and butterflies, but you still love it, even during those moments when it's what your true calling is. And it absolutely, I mean, it sounds like it's what fulfills you, and
Sure.
talents that you have innately as well. So, what sets you apart and what you do for a client than what I would just step into cleaning my own home by myself without your wisdom? Where do you start?
I always start small. It really is it is as small as taking a drawer in your desk or in the
Mhm.
kitchen. I call it the joy drawer, but something that you can physically do for 15, 20 minutes. A lot of times
Mhm.
people want to jump in and they see this mess or they see the disorder and they're like, we're going to dive all in. And it's
Like a full closet. That'd
a
be too
full
much.
closet.
That's what
It's
I
a
feel like. Yeah.
lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. And I mean, I do this for a living and it's a lot. So like seeing a space like a garage or a closet, I mean, I really just say like block the time 20, 30 minutes. Like that's, we can create that and then set a timer and say like, okay, I'm going to spend this 20 minutes in this drawer, pull everything out, categorize it, sort the light items, and when you ask yourself the questions, like, do you really need it, use it, love it? Or is there a better place for this? And
That's a
then,
big part in your book, is just that kind of shedding stuff that you don't need.
yeah, I a lot of times people they think that they need to focus on the editing and the purging and that, are you going to make me get rid of everything? It's no, let's flip the script. Let's come in from a positive mindset of what do you want to keep? let's focus on the keep, and like that adds value and joy in your life. And by nature, those other items will be discarded. And so it's a beautiful process. But when a lot of times people get so overwhelmed because they do start so big or in the wrong category, like memories are so hard.
Oh,
Just like start small, but start with, it's like an easier space. So it's a little bit more mindless than thinking about the sentimental objects.
yeah.
And then once you feel that 20-30 minute difference, and from the beginning to the end, that momentum will keep shifting. And then you'll say, okay, now I can tackle something a little bit bigger, and then so forth. And it could take you a year. It could take you a week. It depends on, the inventory, but season of life, like I said, not everyone has an hour a day to organize, and that's not what I'm asking. But it's really like making a schedule and setting yourself up for success by committing to it, whether it is 20 minutes a week, a day, and then slowly chip away at it. And then you can get to the harder spaces like the garage and memories and all that.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, because I'm like a major purger. Like, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Throw it away. I'm like, if I don't have a space for it, I'm just like, garbage can. But I will say memories would be a place for me where I'm like, oh, I can't throw this picture. I have 20 million of the same picture. Let's not throw it away yet.
Yeah.
So, okay, in that sense, we'll start with a little project. I love that, because I could absolutely do like drawers, tiny projects. The Keep It Simple Sexy podcast is brought to you by KO Body Care. Uh-oh, guys, I'm going to fill you in on something. My pants are fitting a little tight today. Have you guys ever felt the same? A little bloated, ate something that didn't mix well with your tummy? Well, I'm going to let you in on my personal hack. KO Body Care's clean plant-based supplement, Bloat Be Gone, and it will be gone. As the founder and CEO of KO, we spent so long getting these formulas perfect, and this one really works instantly. Our customers are just as obsessed with it as I am. What I love about this one is that it soothes bloating and digestive discomfort fast while healing over time. So I always slip this one in my purse when I'm going out to dinner, and that way I can throw it in some water, drink it, and feel great. Try it out for yourself and see the bloat and discomfort start to disappear, leaving you feeling your best. Head to kobodycare.com and use our code KISS20 for 20% off your first purchase. Are there places in the house, I mean, from a little apartment to a bigger home, that are more important that you found over the years for people to start with, to really kind of continue along the process,
Short
The
answer is,
makeup, is it the
short
bathroom? Like,
answer
where is
is
it? Yeah.
every single person's different. So it's really going back to what is your biggest stressor? Because your kitchen and pantry, you could be in it every day, but it might not be bogging you down, like let's say your office space or your closet. So it is the starting small, but it's also kind of looking at your space as a whole in your house and saying, what's the best schedule? So once you know that, and I always joke the Monica closet, where people are like, I'm just going to shove it away and put it, where no one can see it. But those are the spaces too that you subconsciously are not, they're in your brain every day, even if you don't think that they are. So I always say the starting small and kind of going through the spaces that, whether it's the bathroom or the hallway closet, where it's a little bit manageable in the time versus like a full-on kitchen, depending on the size of it. So it really will matter based on, person to person. But the biggest thing is just committing and just starting small.
Do you know, I haven't done any research in this, but is there like studies on seeing clutter daily? Like you were talking about that. There's time. So I can
Time.
even imagine, even if it's
Oh my
pushed away
God.
and you don't realize, like you said, it's in your closet, it's the Monica closet, but it's in your psyche daily,
Mhm.
how that affects you.
Yeah. I don't claim to go, I'm not a psychologist. I didn't claim to go to school, but I do case studies essentially every single day of watching the difference, and thousands of clients of later to see that part of their brain and that part of their feeling and their everyday of how it really does affect them. It totally matters. I mean, I know even for myself, and we've spoke about it before, where it all matters. Even if you think sometimes it doesn't, it does. And I know how I feel is so much different when I do tackle that space.
It's like, yeah, and it's like frustration a little bit in dealing with those spaces, whether you're realizing or not, or just trying to find something or something getting caught on something else if you're trying to get it right. The time commitment, if it is, I'm kind of thinking like bathroom drawers, makeup drawers when you're trying to find something, kids' toy rooms, my goodness, trying to find, and just the frustration of it and the time.
It's I say, if you take the time, make the time, you have the time.
Yeah.
So meaning like you take a step back, and during that process, it might feel like, oh, like the self-care that I speak of, people usually push this off because they
Go to
don't think
yoga.
it's
Yeah.
important. It's like, this
Mhm.
is the first thing to go. And that's why I joke in the book, like, you Sharpie it in, Sharpie this in your calendar, because it is so important to every other aspect of your life. And it does matter. And so when you look at a space and you can know that, okay, I'm going to start small, I'm going to set myself up for success, I'm going to feel that difference. And so it's going to keep going and wanting to, commit to it. And it's a beautiful thing when you watch it happen. But it is scary. It's so overwhelming. It can be frustrating. It's all of those feelings, but it's like the chipping away at all of those emotions as you start going.
Do you have any extra tips for people like myself with ADD, or even pulling out? I will say, I think starting smaller is very helpful. That is one major tip for somebody like me, because if I start cleaning things out, it is an extra mess and I put it back then a mess because hours later I'm still within it. Like, I can't see the vision of what it needs
Mhm.
to look like, I will say. And
Yeah.
so, see how do you understand in each area what this is, what you
Yeah.
envision in the area? And then for people like me, any tips? Because I'll pull everything out, even in my drawer, even if I pull these pens out, that, everything that you put in here, I wouldn't know where to begin, how to put them back
Mhm.
in. And you have
Mhm.
like organizers in here,
Mhm. Mhm.
how to start
I
that,
think I think
the
it's a few
actual
things.
process.
It's a few things. It's
Yeah.
when you do start, and when you're in that space, if you have all the contents that you're ready to go back in, I always say, like, ask yourself again, like, the real intention of your home, of, like, we might be over here, but I'm like, what's the bigger picture? Like, what do you value? What do you love? What gets you up in the morning? Bringing your relationships to the, fore table. But I'm like, I have these conversations, and then you get paralyzed by, then what's next? And so putting things in a drawer, like you said, of taking it, the prime real estate, we call. So it's like the front and center. The things that you're using
Hmm.
most often in that
Mhm.
drawer should be front and center. And then you kind of build around that. So things that you don't need as often, whether it's once a week or once a month, you still need it. It should be in this space, but it's not as often a daily thing. So then you kind of build out, and it's just one big puzzle piece. Even as organizers, we puzzle piece. It doesn't have this perfect, nothing's perfect. We don't believe in that. But it is this progress of creating a space that you love, and creating it by how you're using it and how often you're using it. And, if you open a drawer, like, the front and center should be the things you're using the most. And if there's a checkbook in there that you're using, once a month, once every other week, go back, it should be further back. So we call that prime real estate in any space, especially with seasons. If you're using it once a quarter, once a year, that's why we say, like, a garage is better for things where it's higher up and further away, or in a pantry, for example. The things that you're using every single day, is you're having the conversation with yourself of, my morning routine, and then what do I do for lunch, and then afternoon. I mean, I literally will walk someone through their day, of, like, walk me through from the moment you put your feet on the ground to when you go to bed at night, of what's a typical day, so then you can build the flow of your life and the flow of your home to cater and honor that, but also make it easier for you, to save you time and money and energy and your sanity. Because when you're doing all these steps, it's like you're gaining minutes and years off your life, which is really.
That is so beautiful, truly. I mean, now I really can see that, where I can take those steps if I can outline, and I can already see the truly important parts that take so long, like maybe it's the kids putting on their shoes and taking off their shoes and not throwing them, which you gave me 2 baskets, so they put them in there. To even in the pantry, the things in the front that I have that you've labeled are like the like bits of coconut, hemp seeds, dates, things that I use to make their smoothies almost every single day, where some of the other flowers, all that kind of stuff are in the back. To my bath, to the drawers here. Exactly. I have a checkbook in the back because I use it once a century at this point. It really
Yeah.
is. Now I can see where you
Yeah.
start to like lay out, and even the clothing, all that kind of stuff.
For sure. And you want to keep the categories together as much as possible, but it really does change your life, and it changes your everyday routine of catering to what's best for you. And again, it could change season. You have another baby, like you need to add another bin, like there's all these things, but the foundation is there. And so it's maybe a label will change, or maybe, we need a bigger basket or a smaller bin, or we change it around a little bit. But once you set that foundation, it's so easy to edit as your life kind of, the ebb and flow of it.
Mm-hmm. So, one of the things that I found as I age and hitting 40s, but just having a family and stuff like that, even pre kids, you talk in your book about a command center. And I love this because, as we age, we collect more, and that life becomes a business too. So, we just accrue more and more things. There's bills, there's mail, there's tape, there's printing paper. I mean, just basic things, paper clips, cords, tons and tons and tons of cords. Where do you recommend, if you don't have an office, let's say, putting this kind of stuff and organizing this just kind of life business? These are the things that, I mean, truly, that's what you see sitting around my house still the most.
I always say, like, think about kind of going a step back in the flow of your space, and kind of from the morning to the evening, and where's the central hub. And usually it's close, you're in the kitchen or the pantry, or if there's a door that goes out to the car and there's a space there. So it really matters per person of kind of that central hub. But once you create that station, it's beautiful because you have the menu, the meals, you have the keys, you have, the few things that you need, but it's the everyday prime real estate space in your central hub, which, for most it's off the kitchen or by the front door, side door, depending on the flow of their home. But it's just that high trafficked area that you're always passing and that you have space for. And you don't need a built-in mudroom. You don't need it doesn't need to be this big thing. It could be on a wall, which is so great now because a lot of people, they have those and it's like, oh, I don't have the space. I'm like, you can create it. I promise you. You just need a little bit of space on the wall, or if you have
built a bought shelf, you can buy a shelf that you add to your wall. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have such amazing command centers where you can create your own. So you think about the few things that you need, the pen, the calendar, even hooks for the girl's backpack. I mean, it depending on who it's for, but it's thinking about what's going to help save you time. And I always say the sanity levels first, but it all kind of ripples into each other. So having that space in your home is really important.
And I think another area too that can be so troubling is kids, especially young ones, old ones too. I'm sure teenagers are the same. I know I was keeping things organized. We have a playroom. We're lucky enough to have a playroom in there. And their closets. Actually, whenever I'm showing anybody this house, one of the biggest things that I show them out of everything is the girls' like bow drawers. I'm like, yeah, look at these. Oh yeah, sunglasses, bows, because they're still color coordinated, gorgeous. Yeah. And we still keep their even their closets pretty much color coordinated. It's I've got problems, but I like it.
No,
But anyway, for the toys, it's like, how did you did such a great job of organizing the playroom. We did build in shelves in ours, so I don't have to see anything, but that's so organized inside. For any parent, is there some simple tips that you have or hacks to organizing sections of toys, maybe, for younger children at least?
Yeah. And I think you said it, like not everyone has a playroom. So it's like what space in your home can be that. So there's not toys all over the house. And then, the parents are all over. It's like
We
you
still have
want
baskets all in our living room now
You
too.
wanna
So
you wanna create, that
mhm.
structure, and I say a lot of the tips are for people who don't have that or need it's the multifunctional use of space. So, like, the baskets that have a lid, so when you can put the toys away, then put the lid on, and it's decor, but it also is functioning as a space for the kids. And then just keeping, again, I always say, like, the arts and crafts, that's definitely not gonna be in the family room, so it's really
Not unless you want
limiting.
pen on your walls.
No, but I have 2 bonus kids, 10 and a half and almost 14, and they have stuff, and so having those conversations, but also I think it's such a beautiful moment to teach kids about donating and working with great companies that, once you have used it, and really at the end of the day, people don't need that much stuff, and
Yeah.
kids just wanna be loved, and it's so beautiful to create a space around that, but also teaching them the benefits of what that feels like and what that looks like, and then getting them involved of doing like the one in, one out rule, or when there's a toy that's broken that, there's no use for it anymore instead of keeping and holding on to it. So there's a lot of different strategies and tips, but I love people say, don't get the kids involved. I'm like, get the kids involved. I think it's actually a benefit to them to understand and know the back end of how things work and how fortunate it is to have toys to begin with.
With a million and one things on our to do list every day, and with life back in full swing, getting organized around the house can really feel like something that will forever live in our dreams. What if it could become a reality and actually simplify your life while bringing more joy and relaxation into your everyday? Life is about connection, not collection. And in Jen Robbins' book, Life in General, a joyful guide to organizing your home and creating the space for what matters most, you'll learn what that mantra really means. Jen's organization company, Life in General, focuses on the soul work of home organization, the psychological and emotional foundation necessary for creating a streamlined and sustainable lifestyle. For Jen, change comes from within, a process that to succeed must begin with the heart. Jen's book will help build healthier mental habits that allow us to break free from the clutter while providing traditional strategies to get and stay organized. The book offers a holistic approach to organization, and once we understand what we want from our spaces, how they can nurture and support our emotional well being, we can create a home that feels both practical and joyful. Find the book on Amazon or wherever books are sold. I will say too, in the sense of the organization, my oldest, Remy, has more attention deficit than I have. But this has really helped. Teaching her to clean up after herself has been a project. Penelope's much, she just does it. She even cleans like the table off when she's done and stuff with a little wipey. But for both of them, it's very calming for them. For children, it ends one project. It helps to wrap their brain around that, and I can see where it really helps Remy with the ADHD. Instead of running from one thing to the next, not even finishing books before, couldn't, like 1-2 page, to being able to kind of like calm and set that task aside and then move on to the next fully
How
and
beautiful.
reset.
How beautiful, and to take that ownership, like, for her, where she knows that things have a place and they have the home, and then being able to reset to the next, and, I love that, and expect with kids, it's like adults need structure, kids need structure,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I need to look at, like, where does this go? It has a home, and everything should have, the right home that it belongs to, but, like, having them involved, I love that so much, especially, it's like having that reset, but,
Yeah.
it's really important.
There's nothing like in the mornings, once in a while, I'll be watching her on the video camera and she's like cleaning her whole room, putting her pillows up, making her bed. And I'm like, who is that? Who is that girl? And then I'm like running out the door. My bed's unmade. I'm like, okay, do as I say, not as I do, I
My
guess.
spirit
But
animal,
whatever.
for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. It helps. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Let's wrap up things a bit, but let's talk aesthetics and function. That's what you do
Mm.
so well too. And I think no better place. I mean, you can talk about it anywhere in the house, but for me, the pantry is a really place like this. Like,
Yeah.
because I love to see, I guess the makeup drawers too, but I feel like I can organize my lipsticks. But the pantry you've done so well because there's baskets, there's glass. I mean, bathrooms are kind of like this too. How do you marry both? And
Mhm.
where do you like to find your containers, your hangers? Are there best of choice that you use, in these kind of categories?
So like I'll always say, every space is different and depending on budget and aesthetics. And we really do look at the house as a whole, like matching things to each space. I love when beauty and function meet, but function has to win. Something could look so incredibly beautiful, but if the system is not going to work, it's not going to stay that way. So it's setting up and meeting the two of, okay, we want this to look beautiful. We want you to be proud of it. We want you to maintain it. And when it looks that way, it makes you feel a certain way, and then it's easier for you to put it back, right? So it
Yeah.
really comes together perfectly, function and aesthetics, but function has to win. Like we have those conversations and say, like, are you someone that's going to decant, baking into a jar, or do you really need it in the original packaging? And so going through all those steps, and we just look at the space and create this. It's like a big puzzle, like I said, and what's going to look good, but by zones and categories, and take you through your whole space based on how you flow throughout it and every single day. Like, what do you need in the morning? What do you need in the afternoon, the evening? And will that change? And setting up, your zones around that. And we shop all over. We obviously love like the Container Store. It's our second home, but we really do try to repurpose a lot of what people have currently, or Amazon's really easy and efficient way to get things, but Target, Bed Bath and Beyond. I mean, there's really so much now, especially with
About anthropology, some, right?
Anthropology.
Yeah.
We've been doing like Crate and Barrel. Some, just depends on kind of the look and feel. We are hoping to come out with a product line this year.
I was hoping to hear that.
Yeah,
Good.
so I feel like we've been saying it forever, but this is the year. But it goes back to, we want to make sure it's going to last, and we
Yeah.
we really want you to maintain it. I mean, I see your videos and things behind you, and I'm like, I'm
You're
so
checking.
proud because but really, it's so important, because it's almost like I don't want people to call me back for that. Like, if you move or add another baby, or you need a fine tuning, but we want you to maintain it. We want to be able to set up the system so seamlessly for you, so you can live every day and feel through your days and make it easier. So the aesthetics to it, for you example, like, we matched your house. We really took the colors in your pantry, what bounced off your kitchen. I mean, we really think about everything, but we also ask, like, is glass something that, we wouldn't put that lower for kids? We have them on the higher shelves. So kind of thinking through what makes the most sense for you, and each person and their families.
One of the beautiful things, speaking of too, like keeping it up, one of the beautiful things that you did is that you created us an entire binder with images too of what it looked like when you originally set it up. So I think that's a great tip for anybody to do as well. Like, have a Polaroid or make a little binder. It's a nice way to recheck yourself too and
Yeah.
be like, oh, this is really what it looked like when I first set this up. Or if you ever have somebody, like just somebody that can assist you in your house, even a little bit, and say, this is what it looked like. Can you help
Yeah.
me just clean this
Yeah.
back up a bit
For
too?
sure. Or even, making a photo stream on your phone, or a drop, whatever
Yeah.
that looks like, but just
Mhm.
having something, because the memory, people don't want to always forget it. So I think that was just something for us, where it's like, we want you to be able to live in it, and things are going to change, and things are probably going to be, we want you to live in it. Right. And we know it's not going to always look exact, but that's not what we want. We want to make sure the foundation is there. And then we can say, hey, we can change out labels, or as things change and grow. And as the girls get older, like, there's going to be different likes, and but the system is set up for you.
Yeah, maybe less snack basket so mom doesn't eat the cheddar bunnies anymore. Who knows what that'll turn into though, but well, thank you so much. You have any extra little hacks or any tips that you wanna tell us or leave
I,
us with?
I just, I, giving grace. I think life
Oh,
is so life is hard. It's so beautiful. And every day I feel lucky to be alive, right? We are all so lucky. But I think when it comes to organizing and there's this, it has to be perfect. No, I want to get rid of that word perfect. You don't, what you see on Instagram or these beautiful pictures. Yes, you can make your home look like that, but you want it to be functioning right for you. And the giving grace, because not every day you have time and can make time to organize. But if you commit to yourself this year, whoever needs to hear this, and just say this is the year, let's really commit to yourself in your journey in organizing. And it might take all year. It could take forever, and it's going to take forever. It's an ever evolving thing. But when you just start, it feels so good. But giving the grace to yourself, because your life is meant to be lived. And when you create life around order and structure and being organized, your life really will change.
Yeah, you can have creativity around that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't necessarily have creativity within chaos. It's kind of like what you're saying too reminds me of like Monet and Picasso. They were both trained in the Renaissance, this exact beautiful kind of art, and they took it and they made it into something else. But it's not like Picasso is just like, I'm just going to train in these paint strokes, right? To have that organization first, your life can really flow from there.
Absolutely.
So I love that. Even anybody listening that needs that, it's just like pencil it in, highlight it in, even once a month for that hour. I mean, just that, can imagine the changes that you would be able to make. To just start cleaning up, or call Jen. You can follow her too on Instagram at Life in General, and it's a Jeneral if you haven't caught that yet. So it's Life in Jen, like her name, Jeneral. And you can hire her in for, I'm sure, all kinds of project. It doesn't have to be a full home, but I was about to give birth, and thank goodness you guys helped us. And I was actually on bed rest too. I was supposed to be on bed rest, so thank you. Okay, let's do a couple speed round really quick. What's your morning routine? I'd love to hear this from an organized gal. What's your morning routine like to set the tone for your day?
Okay, so I get up, I have coffee ready fast. I do my 5-minute gratitude journal. I do about 30 minutes with my Bible, and then I get ready for the day and go to work. And on my way to work, I listen to a podcast.
Oh, that's a really amazing morning. That's, you got to feel good after that morning. Do you do that pretty much every single morning?
5 days a week, I spend that 45 minutes to an hour, and it's non-negotiable because I've watched my life change. And I try to also work out and do all these things. And, some days look a little, but I would say most times not. 5 days a week, that is it.
That's awesome. And then on the weekends, you kind of
yeah.
go with the flow a little bit. I love that. All right, I'm going to get back to it. So listen to my podcast actually this morning. I know it is good for you. I get it. What's your simple go-to, can't skip a day, daily healthy hack?
Body movement or exercise. Even if I'm just starting to work out recently again, and it's been just moving my body, even if it's just a long walk. It's like I'm giving myself grace and I'm just walking.
Yes, I feel you. Just doing a little yoga like yesterday for Mother's Day. I was like, okay, I just have to move my body a little bit. I get it. We're all working, it's good. But that's great. And some things have to fall along the wayside at some point, and then we just bring them right back in, organize them right back into our life.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jen. We can find your book, Life in General, on Amazon, as you said, at your website, Life in General, LifeinJeneral, or anywhere, which is so cool that you would find books. I just love it. I'm so happy for you. Taking over the world and helping people. And the book has so many amazing stories, but so many practical tips as well. So you can really dive into organizing your life and getting your focus on to your main goals. Thank you so much, Jen, for sharing all
Thank
your
you
tips with
so
us
much
today.
for having me. It was so good to see you.
Good to see you. I'll see you soon. I'm
Yes.
bringing Jen back in because the new baby's coming along. And we have a whole
I
new
love
room. So she's going to help me
it.
organize all the bows again.
Love it.
Thanks, Jen. And thank you, everybody. I hope this episode really helped you. I mean, the organization, as you can see, is complete wellness. It is that first step, and it's just taking those tiny little steps to organize pieces in your life. Coming from the most disorganized gal, I feel like I learned so many tips to really help myself, and I'm going to clean off my desk, I promise. Make sure you write a review, subscribe. We love hearing from you guys. Follow on social, add your comments, all the good stuff. And definitely pass this one along to a disorganized friend that you have. Have questions you need answered? Text me at 1-310-361-8697. Make sure you're following me on social at Christine Bullock, and have a healthy, happy week. See you next time.